Welcome back, everybody. It's now time for the real action to get underway here at the second round of the 2019 BNL Karting Series season being held here at Karting de Fagnes in Mariembourg. My name's Alex Goldschmidt, the series commentator, and we also will have with us Ben van der Stucken, who does our press and PR work, and he will be interviewing some drivers as we manage to get a hold of them. But we have 5 races to take us through to our customary lunch break. So first things first, we're going to have Micromax here. So all 11 competitors. So very shortly we'll be getting things very much underway here. So we're just seconds away for getting things truly underway for the halfway point of the 2019 BNL Karting Series season. 11 Micromax competitors ready to go into battle for the very first time this weekend. And now, here they come. So your grid lineup is as follows, and it was a very close one at the front of the field. It was Olivier Jonkers in the number 16 that pipped Dries van Langendonk in the number 15, who lines up alongside by a mere 5/1000ths of a second. Behind them on row 2 will be the number 9 of Thomas Strauven and the number 40 of Casper Schormans. Matej Radenkovic in the number 99 and Mika van der Pavert in the number 86 will be on row number 3. Behind them will be the championship leader, the number 54 of Tommy van der Stroys, with Karel Stout in the number 3 alongside for company. Tom van Langendonk will complete the first 9 of 11 positions. Alongside will be Holland's Max Swiderski, the number 19, with Mick Vandenberg in the number 29, rounding out the 11-strong grid. As with Rotax Racing sporting regulations, it will be a sighting and then a formation lap. So, 10 minutes are on the clock, plus 1 additional lap here at Karting de Fagnes in Mariembourg, in southeast Belgium, not too far from Liège. So, the top 3 rows will be comprised of Olivier Jonkers and Dries van Langendonk on the front row, Thomas Strauven and Casper Schormans on row 2, with Matej Radenkovic and Mika van der Pavert on row number 3. So, drivers now being told to slow down and quickly get into formation. Looks like we've got Tom van Langendonk, Swiderski and Vandenberg just getting a little bit behind. Well, looks like the last of our 11 strong are now into formation. So, for those watching at home, pole position will be on the left-hand side, and it will be in the form of the number 16 of GKS Levens Power's very own Olivier Jonkers, with Dries van Langendonk alongside for company. It's a GKS front row as we go into battle. Do we go lights out this time? Yes, we do, and it seems to be getting very, very feisty going into turn 1. As, oh, there's been contact. Oh no, that was very close indeed. We've had one spinning to the outside of turn 1, coming together with one of the GKS drivers, I believe. Now, could that have been, that's not, oh, well, that's a real development. Could that have been Dries van Langendonk that was involved there? So one of the drivers got away, and that was Olivier Jonkers, the driver already. So we have yellow flags on the outside of turn number 1 here, in the first of 2 races here for Micromax. This one's 10 minutes plus an additional lap. The next one will be 13 minutes plus an additional lap after the customary lunch break. But making a getaway very early on due to dramas on the very first corner indeed. So leaders coming through to complete lap number 1, and leading quite comfortably at the moment is Olivier Jonkers. In second position, it is now the number 9 of Thomas Strauven, with Mika van der Pavert in number 86 in third position. Great battle for fourth at the minute as Tommy van der Stroys is trying to get the hustle on and trying to get past Casper Schomans and throws it up the inside quite cleanly there. So nice work by the 54, up from 7th into 4th position now as the field goes through turn number 4. So it was Max Swiderski that was the other casualty, unfortunately, in that mix. So Swiderski still, I think, is circulating. Oh, there's been more drama. Now, hang on a minute. Was that the leader? Is that Olivia Jonkers that has now been eliminated? That could very well be the case. So this is going to be an all-out battle now between Thomas Strauven and Mika van der Pavert for the lead of this race. And they are being chased now. Now, Strauven is leading the race. Van der Pavert is in second. And they are line astern. Behind them, it's Casper Schomans. Tommy van der Stroys is trying to make inroads to keep his perfect record intact thus far. So, already we've had... so, Dries van Langendonk is out. That's a real shame for the second place starter. And at the back part of the field, well, I'm just seeing that Matej Radenkovic and Karel Stout... Now, hang on. Now, Matej Radenkovic looks to be out of position. Radenkovic was in. So, Jonkers is still circulating in 9th place at the moment. So, drama already, and we haven't even completed. That was after just after the very first corner. Meanwhile, Van der Pavert is really sizing up Strauven for the lead, and coming along with them for the ride is Casper Schomans. Van der Pavert goes up the inside of Strauven into turn 1, and Strauven shuts the door firmly in the direction of Schomans, but Schomans goes back on the offensive, up the inside of the number 9, going through turn number 2. What a great move from him there. But whilst the trio are battling, Van der Stroys is going to try and close the gap. Behind them, you've got Tom van Langendonk and Matej Radenkovic. They ran out the top 6. Mick Vandenberg up into 7th. Karel Stout is in 8th place. As Olivia Jonkers still getting in, I think, what is going to be some very valuable seat time, as will Max Swiderski. So Dries van Langendonk confirmed as retired after that first turn clash around about 4 minutes ago. But the three-way scrap at the front of the field has shown no signs of abating yet. So it is Van der Pavert leading from Schomans. Schomans got the real slingshot coming through there. And Van der Pavert lost out 2 positions going into turn 1. So both Schomans and Strauven got past the number 86. So Schomans had already taken the lead going down the start-finish straight. So Van der Pavert really on the back bumper of Strauven going into turn number 4 for second position. But the gap back to Tommy van der Stroys was 8/10. That is clearly not that far anymore. It's going to be not even a 10th and a half, probably, by my reckoning. Van der Stroys really has got the move on here, has got the hurry up, and has decided, right, these 3 are battling in front of me. I need to get past the 2 in front and then go after Casper Schomans. So at the minute, it's going to get very, very interesting indeed, because if Tommy van der Stroys latches on to the back bumper of Mika van der Pavert in the 86, who's currently in 3rd, who really got a great toe going into turn 1 behind Thomas Strauven, heading into turn 1 there. Van der Pavert is looking very, very racy indeed, but Van der Stroys' gap, he actually chopped into that by about 0.3 of a second to the 54. So we have about just under 4.5 minutes plus an additional lap to go. Casper Schomans in the number 40 from the Netherlands continues to lead this first of 4 Micromax races this weekend. In second position from GKS Lemons Power, it's the number 9 of Thomas Strauven. Then it's Mika van der Pavert in the 86. And then number 54, Tommy van der Stroys. So they are all separated by just over 1 second at this particular moment. Schomans is definitely keeping away from the 2 battling for second and third. Van der Pavert is about a kart length behind Strauven at the minute. Gets into the toe, coming down the start-finish straight. And would be very, very brave and brazen indeed, trying to go up the inside of Thomas Strauven, because he would have had to have come from a long way back and outbraked the number 9 going into turn 1. So running order at the moment, unfortunately, Dries van Langdonk is still sitting at marshal post number 2. So hopefully Dries will come fighting back in the second race of the day a little bit later on, which is at about 1:30 local time. So Schurmans leads from Strauven, Van der Pavert, Van der Stroys dropping a little bit further back. Is the number 54. He's about 7/10 off of Van der Pavert, who's currently in third position. The battle between Matej Radenkovic and Tom van Langendonk, I think, might have now been settled, as Radenkovic now in 5th place in the number 99, and it's a further 8 seconds back to Mick Vandenberg in the number 29 in 7th position. But Strauven really coming under fire now from Van der Pavert for that second place, going through the second turn there. Now into another hairpin at turn 3. Now it's into the left-hander at turn number 4. And Strauven really coming under fire now. Van der Pavert has just really got to bide time and wait for that opportunity to strike. But in the meantime, if Strauven has actually signalled to Van der Pavert, I don't think that's been the case, because Strauven has got his hands absolutely full of the number 86, trying to fend off the advances to stop the number 86 of Mika van der Pavert to take that second place. 1 minute and 50 plus an additional lap to go. Kasper Schurmans in the 40 continues to lead, but what is the gap going to be between him and Thomas Strauven and then Mika van der Pavert? Top 3 separated by less than 4/10. This is getting really, really interesting now at the front. So Schurmans is not running away with it. Got the initial advantage, but Strauven has started to fight back and respond to Van der Pavert's advances. As Van der Pavert was trying to go for second, it looks like Tommy van der Stroys might have just consigned himself to stick in 4th. That still will be a fairly good points haul, around about 13 points. But there has... Oh, that's really changed things. New message from timekeeping. 5-second penalty for pushing to Mika van der Pavert. And that is going to drop him, Mika, down to, by my reckoning, around about 5th or 6th position. So that puts Van der Pavert out of this battle for the lead. So it's now going to be game on between Kasper Schurmans and Thomas Strauven. And that was for pushing. So they do say that karting is a non-contact sport. And Van der Pavert was started in 6th place. Schurmans still resolute in hanging on to first. Strauven in second. Even with that 5-second time penalty, Mika van der Pavert will be dropping back down the order to around about 5th place, because the gap, if Van der Pavert gets another 10th or so up on Matej Radenkovic, Van der Pavert will actually finish in 4th behind Tommy van der Stroys on aggregate. So, last lap board is out for this first race of the weekend here. And Schurmans leads. Strauven in 2nd position. So, final lap it is. 1 more lap to go. Just over around about 1,100 metres for the top 3 to negotiate here at Mariembourg. So the way that things are going, if Mika van der Pavert keeps up this pace, the 86 will still finish in 4th place ahead of Matej Radenkovic, as Radenkovic hasn't really been able to get a bit more pace in that kart. As the leaders now come through towards the final few corners here at Karting de Fagnes. to conclude the first of 20 races here this weekend in Mariembourg. So, corners away, and I don't think it's going to be enough for Thomas Strauven to assert the winner, and it's going to be a first win of the season for Casper Schormans and the number 40 here in Micromax by 0.278. You know what was funny about that? You know when they say don't celebrate too early? I think Casper Schormans knew he had it in the bag, but Strauven, I think, had that killer instinct in saying, I'm going to go for it, and try as he might, but Casper Schormans breaks the perfect record for Tommy van der Stroy, so 2 different winners from 5 races this season. Casper Schormans takes 25 points, with Thomas Strauven taking 20 for securing second position. Tommy van der Stroy will get 16 points, putting him on 116 after this race to finish in third, following the pushing 5-second time penalty handed out to Mika van der Pavert from the Netherlands in the 86, who finishes in fourth, ahead of Matej Radenkovic in the 99. Tom van Langendonk in the 26 finishes in sixth, ahead of Mick van den Berg. Karel Stout in the number 3, Olivier Jonkers in the number 16, and Max Sadursky rounds out the 10 finishers, with Dries van Langendonk unfortunately a casualty after the very first turn here. But Casper Schormans, news breaking out of Mariembourg, Casper Schormans takes his first win of the season here in Mariembourg, as the recovery vehicle now goes out to assist with the recovery of Dries van Langendonk and his cart. So we'll hopefully see Dries a little bit later on in the second final, which will take place for Micromax at around about 1:30 this afternoon. So, looks like our press and PR guy, Mr. Ben van der Stucken, just had a word with the first race winner of the weekend, Casper Schormans in the number 40. So, moments away now for our second of 5 races this morning that will take us through to the lunch break. So, we've had Micromax. We'll now have Minimax, as they're just good to see that the recovery truck has been very expedient in recovering the cart of Dries van Langendonk. So I'm sure that they'll get that cart ready to go once again at 1:30 this afternoon. So we're about a minute away for getting the first of 2 races for Minimax underway here at Karting de Fagnes in Mariembourg. So 10 competitors. And some very competitive times, I might add. I mean, a good showing from all of the drivers here this weekend in every single category. Good to see that qualifying is always a great indicator of the sign of things to come. But as they say, times are for show, points are to go, and it's very much the case in this championship as we are at the halfway point of the season. So, Minimax final number 1 of 4. Jaden Thien is on pole position. And then it is a Dutch front row with Tim Gerhards, the number 50, the current points leader, alongside for company. Enzo Bol and Nick Gerhards round out row number 2, ahead of Matthias van Goethem. Teun Schmidt, who completes row number 3. Then we have Jens van der Heijden, Ralph van der Pevert, Jules van Huel, and Annabelle Brian. So a very hefty contingency of Dutch drivers, with a few Belgians thrown into the mix as well. So, your guess is as good as mine. What is going to happen in this particular encounter? So we now go on to our formation lap. So towards the end of it, it will be the case of Jaden Thien and Tim Gerhards that will have to control the pace, as they will start slowing down, I would imagine, around about sort of turn 9. So with all, for those not that are watching on the live stream from home, wherever you're on the world, thank you very much for tuning in. Every single category will have a 2x2 rolling start formation, which is customary in Rotax racing circles, and here in the BNL karting series it is no different. So the order is as follows: Thien on pole ahead of Tim Gerhards in the 50, the 155 of Enzo Bol and the number 60 of Nick Gerhards line up on row 2. Matthias van Goethem in the 145 and Teun Schmidt in the 166 row 3. Jens van der Heijden in the 151, Ralph van der Pevert in the 168, Jules van Huel in the 121, and Brian in the 123, round out all 10 competitors. And the red lights are now on the starting gantry here at Karting de Fagnes. 10 minutes on the clock. Drivers are sealing themselves and they're ready and they're in the zone to go racing. So on the left of your screen, Jaden Thien on pole, Tim Gerhards alongside. The Rotax engines roar into life. And do we go lights out? Yes, we do. It's going to be, I'm hoping it's going to be clean this time. Oh, well, that's very, very close indeed. And someone has dropped way down the order, right to the very back, as, well, a bit of debris off one of the carts has just flown off on the outside of turn number 2. Now, the driver that dropped down, I think, now there is one exhaust sounding very, very loud there, I think, from my, yeah, that looks to be an exhaust silencer or bracket that might have come off. So someone will be pulled in for a mechanical and their race will be ended rather abruptly. So that will bring us down to 9 competitors. Yeah, there's definitely one. There's clearly breaching noise regulations there. So we'll find out who's leading as the leader, whoever that is, and is that Jaden Thien that is leading, as there is a change for second. Someone's gone wide. That is Enzo Bol, I believe, who was in second. Now drops down to 4th position as the Gerhards working together in second and third. That is Tim, followed by Nick. So you've got Enzo Bol, Teun Schmidt trying to go up the inside of the 155 through turn 2. Was there the slightest amount of contact? I'm not sure. But there is a mechanical black flag being readied as Enzo Bol is dicing with Teun Schmidt over what is 4th position. And looks like it is going to be Matthias van Goethem, I think, that will get the mechanical black flag. That is the case. It's now being brandished on the start-finish line, so Matthias van Gotham will have to park it, unfortunately. So the Belgian driver will be out, having started from 5th position. 8 minutes and 15, plus an additional lap to go here in this first Mini-Max final of the weekend. So did the exhaust silencer come off as a result of contact? Now Van Gotham will see it and probably be rather dejected. So at the moment, the lead is definitely well being consolidated by Jaden Thien, who's got nearly a second in his back pocket over Tim Gerhards, the current points leader. Nick Gerhards rounds out the top 3, whereas Enzo Boll and Tern Schmidt were battling over 4th and 5th position, respectively. But Boll seems to have got the jump on Schmidt for 4th place. So leaders coming around to complete another lap, and Jaden Thien streaking away into the distance. And it's now to the tune of 1.2 seconds. And Jaden Thien just did a 59.649, looks to be the fastest lap of this race. And Matthias van Gotham has done the right thing and has parked the 145. So we're now down to 9 competitors, as Jens van der Heijden has got past Ralph van der Bevert for 6th position. So 6 minutes and 9 seconds plus an additional lap to go. Thien continues to lead. Tim Gerhards in second. The gap is starting to open up a bit more now, and it's gone from 1.2 to 1.296. The gap between Tim and Nick Gerhards is about 0.8 of a second. A little bit further back is Enzo Boll, who actually on that last lap was not, last time around was not quicker than Nick Gerhards. So the 155, who was last year's BNL Golden Trophy runner-up, class, trying to get some momentum going to try and catch up with Nick Gerhards, but doesn't really have anybody to work with at the moment. A little bit further back, Tern Schmidt is 5th, ahead of Jens van der Heijden in the 151. Ralph van der Bevert, Annabelle Brian and Jules van Huel round out the 9 strong, with Matthias van Gotham having to end his race early due to a mechanical black flag due to an exhaust issue. And Thien is just motoring along on cruise control, takes a very, very comfortable glance over the right shoulder to see where Tim Gerhards is in relation to his current position. Hang on a second, but we've had a change here. This is really going to change things because both Tim and Nick Gerhards have exceeded track limits with 2 wheels out of the corridor, and they've both got a 3-second time penalty. If you hear a little bit another time penalty has been issued, but this time it's Annabelle Briand who's just got a 5-second time penalty for completely leaving the track. So race control will look for track limits. So both Nick and Tim Gerhards have both been penalised. This is going to promote Enzo Boll up into now. Tim Gerhards on basis of this will go 5th. Nick Gerhards will go 6th, so they will drop a few positions as a result of their respective 3-second time penalties for exceeding track limits by 2 wheels out of the corridor. So they do have to watch it when it comes to track limits and exiting corners. So Jaden Thien continues to lead, 3 minutes and 35 seconds on the clock, plus an additional lap to go. The gap now between Jaden Thien and Tim Gerhardt is about 1.7 seconds. Now, if Tim and Nick start working together and try and get a bit further up the road, away from Enzo Boll and Tern Schmidt, I think Nick Gerhardt needs to get at least another 1.1 seconds on Tern Schmidt, and Tim Gerhardt needs to get at least another, probably by my reckoning, another 1.3 seconds further ahead of Enzo Boll. So Enzo Boll is now 3.7 seconds off of the leader, but is only just under 2 seconds off of Tim Gerhardt. Meanwhile, Nick Gerhardt is 3.2 seconds off of the leader. Jens van der Eyden is 5.5 seconds off the leader. That is a differential of 2.3 seconds. So it's been a very, very comfortable Saturday morning drive for Jaden Thien at the moment. So the 107 is moving away and doing a very, very good job. So Thien comes across the start-finish line to complete lap number 8 here. 2 minutes to go, plus an additional lap. And the gap now is extended between first and second position to 1.9 seconds. So Tim Gerhardt is now 1.9 seconds behind Jaden Thien. Enzo Boll is 4.1 seconds behind the current leader. So there's still about 8/10, or just over 8/10 of a second, that Tim Gerhardt needs to make up to keep ahead of Enzo Boll. Nick Gerhardt, in the meantime, has about the same amount of time he needs to gather, around about 7/10, over Jens van der Eyden from the Netherlands to secure his place. So if the two Gerhards start working together, or if they are split apart, which they are, that appears to be the case, because Enzo Boll is closing on Nick Gerhardt for third, even though there is that time penalty. Less than 60 seconds to go on the clock, and Enzo Boll is now, well, the lead's now extended to 2.159 seconds between Jaden Thien, who's now going through turn 4, as does Tim Gerhardt, and it's definitely elbows out for third place, even though it's not going to be where they're ending up at the end of this race, because Enzo Boll has clearly got the fire lit in the belly. 30 seconds on the clock, and he's trying to go past Nick Gerhardt for position. So Tim Gerhardt has a gap. Now this battling between these two could actually help Tim Gerhardt to still keep second position. As Jaden Thien comes towards the chicane. So 9, 8, 7, 6. Crosses the start-finish line with 5 to go. So it's going to be this plus an additional lap as the timer has now expired. So I think now that this battle between Enzo Boll and Nick Gerhardt's really intensified, that has allowed Tim Gerhardt, despite a 3-second penalty, I think to secure second position. So running order is Jaden Thien leading from Tim Gerhardt by 2.4 seconds. Then it's a further 3 seconds back to Nick Gerhardt. Enzo Boll in 4th. Jens van der Eyden in 5th. Obviously, we have to consider that Tim and Nick Gerhardt both have 3-second penalties. So final lap board being shown to Jaden Thien, who now has a clear gap of 2.6 seconds over Tim Gerhardt as the 107 goes through turn number 2. Then it's a further 3.2 seconds. Now, just based on aggregate, Tim Gerhardt, I think, has done enough. It's really pulled away from Nick and also Enzo Boll. So it's been very interesting as we've got a nice little battle here. Now, this is Annabelle Briand and Jules Van is that Jules Van Hoel? Yes, it is. Battling over the scraps of 8th and 9th position, but Annabelle will finish in 9th because of a 5-second time penalty for exceeding track limits with all 4 wheels. But the checkered flag is being prepared. And here comes the 107 from the Netherlands, Jaden Thien, who takes a well-deserved victory. Tim Gerhards takes 2nd. And I have to say that Tim Gerhards did do enough to fend off Enzo Bol in the end. Or did he? Now that's very interesting because Tim Gerhards finished was 5.7 seconds behind Jaden Thien, but I think did enough because the gap would have been 3.9 seconds between the 50 and the 155 for 2nd and 3rd. So Jaden Thien opens up the scoring banks here at Mariembourg in Minimax, winning by a comfortable 5.7 seconds, taking into account a 3-second penalty for Tim Gerhards for exceeding track limits by 2 wheels. Enzo Bol rounds out the top 3, and based on aggregate through the time penalty issued to Nick Gerhards, who drops down the order down to 6th. Bol takes it by 9 tenths. Jens van der Eyden in 4th, ahead of Tern Schmidt. Nick Gerhards, Ralf van der Pevert, Jules Van Hoel and Annabelle Briand rounding out the 9th strong, with Matthias van Gotham having a very, very rough-sounding exhaust that put him out of the race on lap number 2. Thank you very much, Ben. Ben van der Schicken doing our live interviews here at Mariembourg. So he's with us for the full 2 days. Now, this is one of the events that I'm really looking forward to, and it is junior max time. So just a couple of minutes away. And I think it's going to be an exciting one. We have 25 competitors. It's going to be 10 minutes plus an additional lap in this one. The drivers are all ready and waiting on the dummy grid to be released. So the wind has started to pick up here at Karting de Fagnes, but I can tell you what, the intensity on the track is definitely going to go up another notch because we have an exciting Junior Max first race of the weekend here in Prospect. So there will be 10 minutes on the timer plus an additional lap. So your grid is as follows. Mike van Vugt will be on pole position. The current defending champion in this category will have Tom Heinert from GKS Lemons Power alongside. Then it's a British row 2 with Daniel Ginchard and Matthew Higgins alongside for company. Jules Castro and Mylan Coppens round out row 3 ahead of Bart de Wit, Callum Boyson, Tom Adams and Chris Harnan, who complete the top 10. Row 6 is Kai Heelerts and Lars Zanen in 11th and 12th respectively, ahead of Jeffrey Fixer and Summer Webb. Tom Braken, making his return to the BNL Karting Series this weekend, lines up on 15th alongside the number 214 of Morris Schuring. Will Jenkins and Christian de Klein are on row 9 ahead of Danny Van Dyke and Flint Schuring rounding out the top 20. And the grid is completed by Bruno Molders, Drake Janssen, Sam Bergstein, Jamil Rogers and Axel Hansel. So now we go on to the formation lap. So we'll see, hopefully, very good control from our defending champion, Mike van Vugt, who's running with the 201 this season. And he will have the 237 of Tom Heinert alongside. So 3 different nationalities comprise the top 3 rows. So it's the Netherlands, the United Kingdom and Belgium. As we now start the latter part of the formation lap phase here. We'll be side by side, 2 by 2 here at Karting de Fagnes. So Van Vugt will have Heinert alongside for company as they go through what is effectively turn number 9 into the right-hander at turn 10 and then into another right-hander at turn 11. It's a very, very technical part of the track before they then get the opportunity to open up the throttle, but they won't have that chance to do so yet because now they really need to get into formation quickly. So Van Vugt and Heinert control the pace. Let's see if this is a clean start. They come through the chicane. Van Vugt on the left is on pole. Heinert alongside. Do they go racing? They slow down. Are they going to go lights out? Yes, we do. And, well, I tell you what, was that a blinding start from Dan Ginchard? Yes, it was. He's up into second. Where's Matthew Higgins in all of this? He's round the outside at turn 2. I think he's just dropped back behind Danny Van Dyke. Chris Harnan trying to get a bit feisty. Oh, and he goes off. He clattered into somebody and has the right front broken. Well, he's got away with that one if he has. So Chris Harnan drops all the way back to the end part of the field. Meanwhile, Van Vugt now starting to pull a gap over Dan Ginchard from the UK. Tom Heinert, I think, is going to be at least in 3rd position. Jules Castro will be in 4th. And then you'll have Matthew Higgins from the UK in 5th, or maybe even 6th position. Or could be that Bart de Wit might be factoring in as Van Vugt comes round to complete the first lap of this 10-minute extravaganza of Junior Max action. We've got the 226 of Bart de Wit, who is now up into 5th position. Where's Matthew Higgins? Well, Bart de Wit is in 5th. Matthew Higgins and Tom Adams are locked in a battle, and Mylan Coppens is coming along with them too. So whilst Van Vugt starts to canter away at his proverbial pace that we know him for, to the tune of a nearly 0.6 of a second, Van Vugt leads ahead of Ginchard, Heinert, Castro, de Wit, Higgins, Adams, Coppens, Kai Heelerts and Callum Boyson round out the top 10. It looks like Coppens is getting very, very... I'm just trying to see who is battling who at the moment. It's a sea of colour here in Junior Max. But Van Vugt continues to lead the field. 8 minutes and 10, plus an additional lap. Dan Ginchard still sitting in 2nd place, ahead of Heinert, Castro, de Wit, Adams, Coppens. Matthew Higgins has now dropped down into 8th position ahead of Kai Heelerts, who's running the CRG chassis. As well, it's definitely getting feisty between both Fagnes and Castro as the pair swap positions. Castro now goes in front of the 2:37 into third place. And Castro has just signalled to Fagnes saying, right, let's get after Ginchard and let's get after Van Voogd, shall we? But what they've got to watch themselves for, they've got the likes of Tom Adams, Mylan Coppins, Matthew Higgins and Kai Heelerts closing very, very quickly within their proximity. Van Voogd's lead was just over 7/10 of a second on the last tour. Could it be the case that Van Voogd will extend it closer to a second between himself and Daniel Ginchard from the United Kingdom? As Harnan really has not had the... Oh, well, there's a real brazen move there. That was Tom Adams up the inside of Bart de Wit there, going into turn one. Mylan Coppins also trying to go through Matthew Higgins there. Kai Heelerts is now with them. And then it's a little bit further back to Callum Voisin in the 2:35. And then just behind is Will Jenkins, Maurice Schuring, Tom Breken up into 13th now. So the Dutch driver now really trying to get a real foothold into Junior Max territory. As there are more changes for positions. Oh no, Heelerts did not want that to happen. I think he just went on the back bumper of Bart de Wit there. I think Kai Heelerts is a bit unsighted. Had nowhere to go, so that's really caught the young Belgian at a surprise. To be completely honest with you, Mike Van Voogd's lead is now 1.1 seconds. Has he extended the gap between himself and Daniel Ginchard? Yes, he has 1.4. And Van Voogd, last time around, did a 56.181. 1/1000th off of his fastest lap so far. So we got 5 minutes and 57 seconds on the clock, plus an additional lap to go. Van Voogd is leading and is just doing it as business as usual. Looking to continue that winning streak. As there's more changes. Dan Ginchard, I think, has just been passed by Jules Castro for second. And that's a great move by the Belgian through turn number 6. And he's lost out also to Tom Heijners. Right on the back bumper now is Tom Adams. So it's Brit versus Brit now. For what is effectively 4th position. Mylan Coppins, Matthew Higgins, Bart de Wit, Kai Heelerts and Callum Voisin round out the top 10. Van Voogd is gone. He has checked out already, and we're not even at half-time distance. But the absolute swarm behind Bart de Wit. Here comes Callum Voisin. Does he go up the inside? Yes, he has. He made it stick, but then Bart de Wit right on the back bumper of the Brit very quickly retakes the position, and well, Voisin really hung out to dry there and has been swallowed up a little bit. There's been a bit of contact. One of the Schurings involved, the 2:14. That's Maurice Schuring, who's really had a bit more pace now, having joined JJ Racing. There's an absolute swarm there. Tom Breken's in the mix. Summer Webb. Danny Van Dyke even there too. Oh, there's more contact. Oh, no. 2 beached on the outside of what is effectively turn 6. And that's a real disaster for that pair. Now, I'm just wondering, who was it? Now, who was it that came together? That looks to be... Now, is Tom Adams one of them? Could that be the case? So 2:01, Mike Van Voogd now has a real comfortable lead. And that lead is now extended to 2.3 seconds. Now, it wasn't Tom Adams, my apologies there, but there were 2 carts that came together there. And that is the 2:35 that's just gone across the start-finish line. That is Callum Voisin, and that was Will Jenkins. So the pair came together outside of turn number 6. Not what the pair wanted, and that's really changed things. Tom Heijners, in the meantime, has got back past Jules Castro. Will try to get as much distance clawed back between himself and Mike Van Voogd, who has just literally gone away and decided, you guys are going to have your own battle. I just want to go out there and win. And he's winning comfortably. So 3.5 minutes plus an additional lap. Van Voogd leads. It was 2.3 seconds. This time... It is now it's still 2.3. So Heijners, Castro, Ginchard, Adams and Higgins. So 3 Brits line astern. So Higgins has got past Mylan Coppins. Kai Heelerts looking a bit lonely, but is still in line for a top 10 finish in 8th place. A little bit further back is Bart de Wit, but Maurice Schuring has been on the move in the meantime. The Dutch driver now up into 10th place. And, well, Tom Breken now up into 11th. So good work from the young Belgian in the 2:08. Larzenen, Danny van Dijk, Flint Schuring and Summer Webb ran out the top 15. So the Schurings having a better time this time around here in the second round of the championship. But Christian de Klein, unfortunately, has not taken any further part in this race. I think was one of the drivers that decided to call it a day or did not even start. Christian de Klein actually started all the way down in 18th position. Not where you customarily expect, but there was a nice move there. That is for position. And I think Maurice Schuring has got past Bart de Wit through turn 2. So Schuring now on a flyer up into 9th place. Goes the Dutch driver. And ahead they've got Kai Gielerts. So Gielerts has got a bit of daylight, or quite a bit of daylight. So around about the tune of about 2.1 seconds. So getting into the latter fifth of this first Junior Max encounter, the first of 4 this weekend. As quick look over the shoulder as Jules Castro has lost out to Dan Ginchard. And also charging is Adams. Now let's just see. Times at the moment, Ginchard looks to have done the fastest, has just done the fastest lap of this race. 55.877. So Ginchard now really trying to go back towards to second position. He's currently in the position where he qualified in third, but was nearly a tenth quicker than Tom Heinertz in second position. The gap between them was just over half a second last time around. Has Ginchard been able to erode into that gap so far? We'll find out very, very shortly, and I think that is the case. I spoke with him earlier on this morning when I arrived at the circuit, and he said, yeah, the pace has been really good, been running in the top 5. He's running in the top 3 at the moment. Meanwhile, Van Vugt comes across the line to complete lap number 10 here. Heinertz is now 2.1 seconds behind. Gap between him and Ginchard is still about 6.5 tenths or so. Jules Castro and Tom Adams round out the top 5. Then it's Matthew Higgins in the 275 that rounds out the top 6. Mylan Coppins still trying to keep in touch with the Brit at the moment. Kai Gielerts just keeping it cool and consistent in 8th place. But good showing for Maurice Schuring this time around. 9th place at the moment ahead of Bart de Wit, who started in 7th earlier on to this race. So the time is now expired. So next time he comes around, Mike Van Vugt will take the final lap board. So here comes the 14-year-old from Vauxhall in the Netherlands. Casually looks over the right shoulder. Final lap it is. Reinhardt has extended the gap back to Ginchard. Well, it's been around about 0.6 of a second for the last few laps. But the battle that I'm really interested in is what is happening behind Jules Castro, because Matthew Higgins is really keeping in proximity with Tom Adams. This could be a very, very good race, the 275, but the 217 might have something to say about it. They're coming through into the second half of the lap. Van Vugt really just has been able to cruise, whereas Higgins did actually try an attempt on Adams through turn 6. This has allowed Mylan Coppins going through into the mix as well now. This is the battle for 5th place. But Van Vugt is going to keep that 100% winning streak alive by a comfortable margin. 5 from 5 for Mike Van Vugt here at Mariembourg for the season. And the first one here of 4 potentially here at Mariembourg. Tom Heinertz takes second ahead of Dan Ginchard. Oh, and there was a bit of a drag race to the finish there as Lars Zanen, I think, well, that was a drag race. Lars Zanen and Tom Braken were 2 1,000ths of a second apart at the flag. So Braken missed it by a whisker to get into 11th position. But Mike Van Vugt wins by a comfortable 2.3 seconds from Tom Heinertz. Dan Ginchard rounds out the top 3. Jules Castro in 4th. Tom Adams and Matthew Higgins nearly having a grandstand finale of their own in 5th and 6th respectively. Mylan Coppins and Kai Gielerts round out the top 8 positions. Ahead of Maurice Schuring, Bart de Wit, Lars Zanen, Tom Breken, Danny Van Dyke, Flint Schuring, and Summer Webb rounding out the top 15, with Sam Bergstein, Bruno Malders, Jeffrey Fixer, Chris Harnan, Axel Hansel, Drake Janssen, Callum Voisin, unfortunately having that contact with Will Jenkins, putting them both out of contention. They were 22nd and 24th respectively, with Jamil Rogers, Azerbaijan, rounding out 23rd position, with Christian de Klein not even getting past lap number 1. Thank you very much, Ben van der Stuken, our man in the pit lane, having spoken to Mike van Voort, who continues his 100% winning streak here in the BNL Karting Series this season. So we're around about a couple of moments away for getting our penultimate race before the lunch break here at the second round of the 2019 BNL Karting Series season here at Karting de Fagnes in Mariembourg. So, we have two more races before we go to the lunch break at around about 12:35 this afternoon, before we conclude the day's action with a further 5 races. Very, very good racing so far. But I know for a fact that with the amount of senior max drivers, 31 of them, it's going to be very, very, let's just say, more than just dicey. But there will be a lot of opportunities for some drivers to make positions up the order. Some may not have that opportunity. Some may find that they'll make some good inroads, and then who knows what might happen. The clouds have started to circle a little bit. The wind is still sort of... I don't know how to react to that. I'm not. I'm just going to laugh at it.
All I'm going to say is you need to see it to see what I've seen.
But yes, 31 drivers in Senior Max. A very, very interesting season thus far. But we still have 4 races, which could really change things heading into Karting Genk, the home of champions, in early October when we crown our 2019 BNL Karting Series champions. But the grid is as follows. Kai Hunter and Charlie Turner make it an all-British front row. In row number 2, it's the 2 main title protagonists. Well, there is one on the front row, and that is Charlie Turner. Ilian Brunsils, who's second in the standings by just 3 points behind Clayton Ravenscroft in the 399. That's row 2. Dylan LaHaye and Manel Galofritorna round out row number 3. Lewis Gilbert and Teddy Clinton, that's row 4. Reese Hunter and Leroy Jägersar, that is row 5. That's the top 10. Miss Andreas Hebert, Guilherme de Oliveira, Kian Sang, Lorenzo Stolk, Sam Harrison, Storm Brewer, Ben Donkin, Christian Kuya, Alexander Luck and Victor Plateau that round out the top 20. And completing the 31 strong is Jason Lockwood in 21st, followed by Clémentine Benoit, Patrick Rundquist, Elias Kalin, Bram Ossivarde, Kieran Gifford, Rick Boothorn, Mick Knowlton, Hughes van de Candelara, I'm going to get that surname wrong, right even if it kills me. Georgios Bersis and Marcus Radney, who was called to the stewards and looks to start from last on the grid, as Bersis didn't really get a qualifying lap, respective of his pace. So the top 10, it's Kai Hunter from Charlie Turner, it's Brit versus Brit, then it's Belgium versus Brit on row number 2 with Brunsils and Ravenscroft, then it's Belgium versus Spain with Dylan LaHaye and Manel Galofritorna. That's row number 3. Ahead of Lewis Gilbert, Teddy Clinton, Reese Hunter and Leroy Jägersar. So I'm just going to wait for the top 2. So Hunter, for those watching on the screens at home, pole position is on the left-hand side of your screen. So it is Hunter versus Turner. That's Kai Hunter versus last year's British Super 1 Rotax champion, Charlie Turner. This could really, really be interesting very, very shortly, as they are now preparing. There are a few drivers that need to get into formation. Looks like we're going to have, hopefully, a clean start very, very shortly indeed. As they come round the final corner, they head towards the chicane, which will put them on the start-finish straight. The red lights are on the starting gantry. 10 minutes plus an additional lap. The Rotax Roar comes into play here. Do we go green? Full start called. Several drivers not reacting quickly enough, I believe, from around about row 4 onwards. So one side got left napping, so to speak. So what they will need to do is to slow things down considerably, get everyone back into formation. So second time of asking, the top 10. Kai Hunter on pole position. Charlie Turner alongside on the front row. Ilian Brunsils, Clayton Ravenscroft, Dylan LaHaye, Manel Galofritorna, Lewis Gilbert, Teddy Clinton, Reese Hunter and Leroy Jägersar. That's the top 10. Hebel de Oliveira, Sang, Salk, Harrison, Breur, Donkin, Kuya, Luck, Plateau, Lockwood, Benoit, Rundquist, Kalin, Ossivarde, Gifford, Boothorn, Knowlton, Van de Candelara, Bersis and Radney. That is the 31 strong grid. They go back into the latter part of this second try at a full formation start. That is not going to be clean. Now, it needs to be that both Hunter and Turner need to control it. They've now started to do so. So they're really having to slow the field down. But there are some stragglers at the back, 5 or 6. Are we going to go lights out this time? Now that's a bit of a disaster there. We've had one driver pull off. That's the pole sitter. And that is another false start. So Kai Hunter, on the second time of asking, he was the one that pulled to the right-hand side. And he's not at all happy. Frustration for Kai Hunter after what was an incredible performance in qualifying. I don't know what happened there, but he's trying to push the cart back into the dummy grid. So that's the second full start. Oh, and we've got a problem for Charlie Turner as well. Both front row runners. That's turn one. Charlie Turner out as well. So the two on the front. You know what this means? The two title protagonists will now take the front row of this grid. So two Dan Holland Racing drivers out. That's the front row. Kai Hunter and Charlie Turner out before we've even got this properly underway here in the first of 4 Senior Max races. So this means Ilian Brunsils will be on pole position. Clayton Ravenscroft, the current points leader. It's 72 points on the man for pole and 75 for the guy alongside. This could be very, very interesting to the title dynamic very shortly. But what a shame for both Kai Hunter and Charlie Turner. Do we go revs up and lights out? This time we do. Third time's a charm. As Dylan LaHaye trying to steal a march, but Clayton Ravenscroft keeps it planted. I tell you what, he was trying to go up the inside of Ilian Brunsils. It's 2 abreast going through. It's even 3 abreast at points. This is very, very close indeed. Now, who's that just got going? Now, there is a Dan Holland Racing car at the back of the field. Now, is that Kai Hunter? That is. So Kai Hunter rejoins. Whereas Charlie Turner is now on Marshall post number 2. That's a real shame for the Brit. But now it means that Brunsils is leading from Ravenscroft at the minute. Dylan LaHaye looks to be now in 3rd place. And behind will be the Spaniard of Manuel Galofretona. But this has really spiced things up. As, that was a try from Ravenscroft, who nearly got swallowed up by Dylan LaHaye, who's trying to pull alongside the Brit. Meanwhile, the 3:03 of Reese Hunter has launched himself up the field to 5th place. And with him, I think he's got Galofretona. You should have Guilherme de Oliveira and Leroy Jägersar in the mix now. So Jägersar now up into 7th position. He's trying to go past Galofretona, but can't get it through, can't get it stuck. Done through turn number 4 as Dylan LaHaye pounces and sweeps past Clayton Ravenscroft going through turn number 5 for 2nd place. There's more drama a little bit further back. You've got the likes of Jägersar. You've also got quite a few others involved that are trying to squabble for position. And this is for the lower part of the top 10. Oh no! More contact! Oh dearie me, that's not what we wanted. One car has been struck on the outside of effectively what is turn number 9. 2 carts involved. Meanwhile, Brunsils trying to get away with it, but LaHaye is thinking otherwise and nearly puts it up the inside of his countryman from out of absolutely nowhere. Meanwhile, Reese Hunter just gets past Lewis Gilbert through turn number 2 for 4th place. And there's more changes of position. Looks like Storbro's just lost out to, that is Guilherme de Oliveira. So the Portuguese driver now getting a real motor on and gets past Stormbrower for what is effectively 7th position. Dylan LaHaye's gone for the lead and he's got it! He's got past Brunsils. Ravenscroft trying to force the issue going around the outside of turn 7. Sweeps in front of Kai Hunter. And I nearly lost my chain of thought there as Lewis Gilbert is right on the back part of that 4-cart squabble over 2nd place. But I tell you what, Ravenscroft came from absolutely nowhere to go past Brunsils for 2nd position. But no, it's side by side, they're banging side pods. And Hunter's going to capitalise. Will he take the pair of them? Oh, it's nearly 3 wide going through turn 1. Oh, I had to blink there on that. My goodness me, Guilherme de Oliveira! You absolute maniacal Portuguese man of war. Where did that one come from? Could have gone round the outside of Leroy Jägersar for position. You wanted a classic, and I have to say, this is getting absolutely... This is like this is an all-out war here in Senior Max. 2 wide, 3 wide at points, even trying to go through turn number 4. And there's more drama going through into turn number 7. And, it looks like Lewis... Now, who is that driver that's been sort of hung out a bit to dry there? I know that one of the... there's a few other drivers in there. Teddy Clinton might be involved in that, as there is drama for a GKS Lemons power driver. Now, who is that? That could be... Well, Sam Harrison's out. Charlie Turner's out. Bramo Cevada and Victor Plateau are out as well. Meanwhile, Dylan LaHaye continues to lead. 1.339 seconds ahead of Clayton Ravenscroft. We've got 6 minutes plus an additional lap left in this first of 4 races. And it's turning to be an absolute classic here. Kian Sang is battling with Leroy Jägersar, who has absolutely fallen out from high, out of the top 10. Now running in 12th position as the Dutch driver, or maybe even make that 13th place, as Godfrey Torners now dropped into the last position of the top 10. Dylan LaHaye trying to break the momentum of Clayton Ravenscroft to take the win. But I do have to say the gap will be slightly extended between Ravenscroft. This will put him on 95 points if he keeps second position, but that depends on Reese Hunter. Storm Breuer now up into 6th position, past Lewis Gilbert. Andreas Herbert now up into 8th place. Ben Donkin, Teddy Clinton, Manel Godfrey Torner, they complete the top 11. Now I'm just trying to see where Guilherme de Oliveira is. The Portuguese driver now is in 5th position and is trying to get more momentum to go forward. Bearing in mind, with the top 2 effectively running out, or being one being out, which is Charlie Turner. Really feel sorry for the guy, but I have to say, I'm just keeping an eye on Kai Hunter's progress. He's back up into 21st position. So whether he can get into the top 15 and at least score a couple of consolatory points is another matter. But the gaps now between first and second have extended. But Reese Hunter is closing. He took over a 1/10 of a second out of Clayton Ravenscroft on that last tour alone. It was a 55.282 for Ravenscroft. But Reese Hunter, closing down on him, took the fastest lap of this race with a 55.161. It's not over yet. I think Ravenscroft is going to have to fight tooth and nail with countryman Reese Hunter for that second place. Oh, and there's a contact a little bit further down the order. Now there was a persistence cart. Now, really couldn't make out who that was, but there is one driver that will definitely drop down the order quite significantly. Could that have been Leroy Jägersar? Not too sure. I'll find out very shortly. But Ravenscroft is feeling the pressure now as Reese Hunter really is trying to force the issue, trying to get past Ravenscroft for second place. Brunsils at the moment has a very, very quick Guilherme de Oliveira closing, and Guilherme de Oliveira took over 2.5 tenths of a second out of the Belgian on that last tour. So this could be really, really interesting. He's up from 12th into 5th. And Kieran Gifford dropped down into 27th place. So that may have been Kieran Gifford that was involved in that contact just off of turn number 7. So we're coming towards the final throws of this first, I have to say, very dramatic Senior Max race of the weekend. But it's Dylan LaHaye from Belgium leading on home soil here at Mariembourg. And the gap between himself and Clayton Ravenscroft is now 0.945 of a second. Ravenscroft took 6/100ths out of LaHaye on that last lap. And the slowest person out of the top 3 is Reese Hunter. So Hunter is trying to find a way past. Meanwhile, Brunsils could possibly have an issue with Guilherme de Oliveira, the Portuguese driver who's been racing in the Portuguese Rotax Championship, the Rotax Max Euro Trophy, has decided to come to the BNL and has really put the cat amongst the proverbial pigeons, one of which the pigeons is Ilian Brunsils, who's just a fraction ahead, probably no more than half a kart length at this particular moment. So we're about to complete lap number 9 here in this Senior Max race number 1 here. As Ravenscroft still fending off Reese Hunter. Hunter sends it up the inside of his countryman, and Ravenscroft straight back on the offensive, heading into turn 2, retakes the position, nice and clean. But I tell you what, Reese Hunter wanted that place back, coming through the exit of it. But Ravenscroft was saying, "Oh no, you don't, sunshine." So the 399 still keeping a hold on the lead, but there has been a 3-second penalty handed to the 375, and that is Lorenzo Stolk in 21st position. But Hunter is not giving up the ghost just yet. He's really keeping in touching distance with Clayton Ravenscroft for second, but this is allowing Dylan LaHaye to just pull away comfortably. The gap last time was just over a second. It looks to be fractioning more than that as the battle for second rages on as Guilherme de Oliveira has got past Ilian Brunsils, and here comes Lewis Gilbert for close company on the Belgian. Gilbert got a better run coming out of turn 1. Might not make the move through turn number 2. Could he think of something up the inside of turn 3? Or maybe even... yes, there we go. Sends it from nowhere. Does Lewis Gilbert. Gets past Ilian Brunsils and then says, you know what's really interesting now? Guilherme de Oliveira is battling with Reese Hunter and Clayton Ravenscroft. This 2-horse race for second just became a 3-horse. No, maybe even make that a 5-horse race because you've got Ravenscroft, Reese Hunter, Guilherme de Oliveira, Lewis Gilbert and Ilian Brunsils. So this could be very exciting indeed. The final lap board's being prepared. So Dylan LaHaye will come out of the chicane to come onto the main start-finish straight to take the final lap board. 1.97 seconds. This is going to be very enticing. It's going to be a last lap battle royale for second position between 4 drivers. Looks like Brunsils is out of it at the moment. De Oliveira closes up on the back bumper of Reese Hunter. Lewis Gilbert there, looking menacing, as he always is, the Doride Diamond. But we'll just see what happens. I think Ravenscroft has now got to jump. Guilherme de Oliveira really trying to go gung-ho here on Reese Hunter. He's looking for a way past the Brits. It's not happening yet. So Dylan LaHaye really has been resolute. It was 3 seconds between first and second. Ravenscroft, I think, has just managed to break away from Reese Hunter, who has got 2 young chargers behind him in the form of Guilherme de Oliveira, who might get mugged by Lewis Gilbert. But I tell you what a win for GKS Lemons Power. Dylan LaHaye celebrates in style, winning the first Senior Max race of the day. Clayton Ravenscroft continues his points advantage ahead of Ilian Brunsils by finishing in second position. Reese Hunter started in 9th, finished in 3rd place ahead of Guilherme de Oliveira. Started in 12th, finished in 4th. Lewis Gilbert made up 2 positions. Ilian Brunsils could have had an opportunity of a lifetime to get one up on Clayton Ravenscroft, but this time he had to settle for 6th position. Storm Brewer, Teddy Clinton, Andreas Hebert and Ben Donkin round out the top 10 positions. Manel Garofri-Torna, who started in 6th, would end up in 11th position ahead of Kian Sang, Leroy Jägersar, Mick Knowlton. Good drive, as we always see. We like to see Mick Knowlton scything through the field from 28th to 14th place. Kai Hunter managed to make it up to the last of the points-paying positions, I believe, in 15th place. What a drive from the 395, having been on pole and having it snatched away. So, and then rounding it out would be Patrick Rundquist, Jason Lockwood, Clementine Benoit, Rick Boothorn, Christian Kuya, Georges Bersis recovering to 21st ahead of Lorenzo Stolk, Hughes van der Candelera, Elias Kalin from Sweden, Alexander Luck and Victor Plateau being the last of the 26 drivers that had confirmed as finished, with Marcus Radney, Kieran Gifford, Bram Osivade, Sam Harrison and Charlie Turner not finishing the race. Thank you very much, Ben. So, we have one last race to conclude the morning's action. I know that there was a recovery effort to get 2 carts back to the paddock, one of which would have been Charlie Turner. So we now have DD2 and DD2 Masters. So that would have been the 384 of Sam Harrison, unfortunately. So Sam only made it as far through to completing lap number 1. And then, unfortunately, I don't know whether it's a mechanical, but hopefully I'll find something out if I get an opportunity a little bit later on. So again, this particular race will be 10 minutes plus an additional lap in duration. When we go into this afternoon, well, it is technically afternoon here, but when we come back after the lunch break, we will have another 5 races, but all 5 will be 13 minutes plus an additional lap in duration. So the grid is as follows for DD2 and DD2 Masters action here for the second round of the 2019 BNL Karting Series season, here being held at Karting in Mariembourg. On pole position is David Remy from Sweden, and alongside will be Greece's very own red hotshot in the form of Dionysius Liveris, and the 436 Jan Gussens and Zander Shrivlak will be lining up on row number 2, so it's an all Belgian row 2. We'll have Alexander Vermeulen and Jan Schwitter on row number 3, ahead of Sebastian Dubront and Madeleine Radny, who round out the top 4 rows. Carl Clervaux is starting on pole position, but that is 9th on the grid in terms of the overall line of things. Alexander Salibekian is in 10th position. Christoph Adams, 2nd in DD2 Masters in terms of qualifying, will be ahead of Christoph Lienen. Jamie Billings, Tamsin Germain, Alexander Derlinger, Roland Kinch, Fritz Vansen and Ronald Billings round out the 18 strong. So we now go on to the formation lap. So on the front row will be David Remy, alongside will be Dionysius Liveris. So you'll have Dan Holland racing on pole and Dames Racing Team alongside for good company, as we'll start to get the latter part of this formation lap underway here at Karting de Fagnes. Canters towards the lunch break, so we'll be finishing probably a couple of minutes behind schedule. So very, very nicely controlled by David Remy. As you can see, the puffs of exhaust smoke coming from the back of the Rotax Max engines. That is a very, very interesting start. So let's see when they gun it. Do they go for it? That's been called a good start there. I have to say, very, very interesting tactic by David Remy, but it's allowed him to get a bit of a hole shot and get a bit of an advantage. Dionysius Liveris is in second. Zander Shrivlak, Jan Schwitter, that's the top 4 at the moment. No, Schwitter gets round the inside. Oh, there's contact! So Alexander Vermeulen, I don't know whether Zander Shrivlak might have seen him, but Alexander Vermeulen nearly got sideswiped there, going into turn number 3 by the current points leader. Well, out of turn 3 towards turn 4. So at the moment, David Remy leads. Dionysius Liveris in second position. Jan Schwitter in third place. Zander Shrivlak in fourth place. So, as the DD2 and DD2 Masters contingent, as Carl Clairvaux goes up the inside, I think that is of Madeleine Radney there. Clairvaux now up into 8th overall, but still leading DD2 Masters, ahead of Christophe Adams. Tamsin Germain now up into 3rd place in the DD2 Masters classification. She's currently 11th on the road at the moment, but is closing on Christophe Adams. And she's about a kart length behind, or not even that, as they go sweeping through the right-hander at turn number 5, now into the very tight turn number 6, as there's another change for position. I think Jan Gustens has just been overtaken by Sebastien de Grande for what is 5th place, as Shrivlak has now got past Jan Schwitter and is going to try and hunt down both Dionysius Liveris and David Remy. So, it's about a kart length and a half between the two leaders. It was 0.137 last time around. It is now 0.121. So, Liveris has definitely thought, I've got a chance here to get a race win. Shrivlak's thinking the same, because when you think about it, David Remy actually broke his streak at Genk, as Remy took the win in final number 3 out of 4. But very, very, very competitive indeed. And the move has happened between Tamsin Germain and Christophe Adams. So Tamsin now up into 10th place. That puts her 2nd in terms of the positioning when it comes to DD2 Masters. Meanwhile, it is an absolute train fest. It's not the Trulli train as it was in Formula 1. It could be called the Remy train. So Remy continues to lead. Liveris still in 2nd. Shrivlak hunting them down. Schmidt is still trying to keep in touching distance. But no, Dionysius Liveris has got the lead. So Liveris now takes the lead from David Remy. Remy is really trying to fire one back of his own. Zonder Shrivlak decides to get his elbows out and say, hey boys, I'm the championship leader and I'm also the defending champion. Jan Schwitter's gone, well, if you guys want to play, can I play too? And then you've got Sebastien de Grande in 5th. Jan Gustens, Alexander Vermeulen, who got, I think, probably inadvertently sideswiped. I'm not too sure if, as I said earlier, whether Zonder Shrivlak actually saw him. Madeleine Radney now in 9th place, as Tamsin Germain is 2nd in DD2 Masters. Christophe Adams is 11th but 3rd in the Masters, ahead of Alexander Sanbekian in the number 463. Christophe Linen in the number 588, rounding out the top 13, as Liveris is trying to break the toe, or break the momentum that Remy has got, as Shrivlak, that was a brilliant job there by the defending champion. Right up the inside of Remy, knew where to place the cart perfectly, and made the move stick coming on the exit of turn number 2 there. So Shrivlak up into 2nd. Now he's got someone with a target on the back, and that is Greece's very own Dionysius Liveris, who is in the lead, was 0.2 of a second ahead of Remy. But whether that battle with Remy has compromised Shrivlak maybe to a 10th to his detriment is anyone's guess, as they now come round to... this is going to be the completion of lap number 5. We're at 5 minutes and 28 seconds to go, plus an additional lap here. As Remy's really trying to put the feelers out, throws it up the inside, returns the favour to Zonder Shrivlak. Jan Schwitter really keeping in touching distance of the defending champion. Then you got Sebastien de Grande. Then you got Jan Gustens, Alexander Vermeulen, as looks like de Grande was sizing up Schwitter for a move there. But then Jan Gustens signals to Alexander Vermeulen saying, well, let's get up with the guys in front. This has allowed Karl Clairvaux and Madeleine Radney to get in on the action, and Radney nearly fancied a chance of going up the inside of Karl Clairvaux going through turn 6. But the Swede had to wait for it. And Radney was actually quicker than Karl Clairvaux on that last lap. A further 10th adrift on the last tour in terms of pure lap pace. Tamsin Germain was only a 10th of a second quicker exactly than slower than Madeleine Radney, as Radney's really trying to keep in the toe of Karl Clairvaux. There's more changes trying to happen as Jan Gustens tries to get past Sebastien de Grande. Can't get by on that particular time through that sweeper at turn 1. As Ronald Billings crosses the line, completes another lap. So at the moment, Livres leads from Remy, Schiblak, Schwitter, De Grand, Goossens, Vermeulen, Klebort, Radney, Germain, Adams, Zanibekian, Lenen, Billings, Kinch, Bernsen, Derlinger and Billings. That's the 18 strong. Everyone is still circulating out on the track. And they're keeping this I tell you what, they are keeping the gaps very, very close. But I have to say that they are using great foresight and great peripheral vision to try and keep the moves as clean as humanly possible. So Livres is starting to break away now. Well, he did until Remy decided to put half a tenth out of the Greeks' lead that time around. But Schiblak still looking menacing on the back bumper of the Swede for second place at the moment. But it is a case that there is still 3 minutes or so still left to go here. And it's anyone's guess as to whether Livres will still keep the lead as Remy and Schiblak bounce on the curbs on the in approach to turn number 8 before they go into the very tight section at turns 9 and 10 before they're able to push on the throttle that little bit more coming out of turn number 10, turn number 11. So Livres looks to have extended that lead ever so slightly over David Remy. Well, no, he hasn't, because Remy's just taken a fraction out of Livres at the minute by about 30 hundredths. Schiblak, Schwitter, De Grand, Goossens and Vermeulen. That's the top 7 at the moment. Carl Klebort still continues to lead the DD2 Masters classification, but it is starting to get that little bit closer, because not only has Carl Klebort got a very fired up Madeleine Radney from Sweden behind, Tamsin Germain is making inroads. And the gap between the trio last time from Klebort to Radney was 0.162 of a second, and it was a further 3.5 tenths back to Tamsin Germain. But with Germain's move on Adams, that could really change the dynamic, because obviously with no Michael Becker and Patrick Weinstock being here this weekend. As Schiblak was looking very, very fired up, and I think probably thought there was a possibility of a move on David Remy, but he would have had to have come from absolutely stone dead nowhere to try and pull that move on the Swedish driver. However, there's still time. But Jan Schwitter is leading a train of at least 4 karts, which is himself, De Grand, Goossens and Vermeulen. As Radney really sizing up again a move on Carl Klebort, but this is clearly allowing Tamsin Germain to close up, and Germain is closed up to about within 0.275 of a second at this particular moment. The leader is still Dionysius Livres. That's lap number 9 completed. We've got 41 seconds plus an additional lap still to go. Oh, and there's been contact. There has been contact between Jan Schwitter and also there has been contact. That's been with Sebastian de Grand. That's really changed things around here. I don't know what's happened there, but de Grand and Schwitter came together. Schwitter, clearly the loser. He's had no luck in the BNL Karting Series this year. It seems to get even worse now, unfortunately. So the time is going to be ticking away, and we are literally seconds. Well, that's it. Time's expired now. So Livres will get the final lap board. Remy is trying to close down, as is Schiblak. And you've also got Jan Goossens now up into 4th as a result of that contact between Jan Schwitter and Sebastian de Grand. De Grand now in 5th ahead of Alexander Vermeulen. Carl Klebort, Madeleine Radney, Tamsin Germain and Christoph Adams now complete the top 10. And I did say, could it come down to being very close indeed? It looks like we could have one of those finishes that you need to see to believe, and it could very well happen, because the top 3 now coming in towards turn number 8 for the final time. Dionysius Livres still continues to lead right now, ahead of David Remy, and the current points leader Zander Schiblak, who will extend his lead in the championship standings. So checker flag being prepared. Who's it going to be? I don't think Remy or Schiblak are going to have an answer for Dionysius Livris, who takes the win here. So Dionysius Livris wins DD2 final number 1 ahead of David Remy and the current points leader Tamsin Germain. And I think now I'm just looking at the driving style of Jan Schwitter, one person who is not very happy at all, and I think is trying to catch up with Sebastian de Bron, because that is customarily not speeds you would associate. I don't think he's very happy. But at the end of it all, Dionysius Livris wins the race by 0.189 of a second ahead of David Remy. Zander Schiblak takes third place ahead of Jan Negusens, Sebastian de Grand and Alexander Vermeulen. Karl Klerbort wins in DD2 Masters in 7th position ahead of Madeleine Vandy, who finishes 8th on the road. Tamsin Germain takes 2nd in DD2 Masters and finishes in 9th ahead of Christoph Adams in the 555. Jan Schwitter 11th, Alexander Zanebekian finishes in 12th ahead of Jamie Billings, Christoph Niednian, Fritz Fernsen, Alexander Derlinger, with Ronald Billings being the last of the 17 classified finishers, with Roland Kinch finishing his race on lap number 8. Well, thank you very much, Ben van der Stucken, our man in the pit lane. This is Alex Goldschmidt, the official BNL Karting Series commentator, saying thank you very much for bearing with us. I do have to report that there have been some small showers that have started to appear here at Mariembourg, probably a little spattering. But we will be back just before 1:30 this afternoon to conclude the first day of action for the second round of the 2019 BNL Karting Series. This is Alex Goldschmidt reporting here live from the track on the PA, on the live stream, and also on Downforce Radio. Tune in from 1:25 this afternoon. We go into the second half of day one, the second round of the BNL Karting Series. Thanks for listening and thanks for watching.